Same time toys one more time, guys. All right, so without further ado, seeing how nobody's here, nobody's watching, I'm gonna bring my man GunBunny Customs in, and well, there's Turkish Murphy, so we got somebody to talk to anyway. But yeah, man, GunBunny Customs, check him out. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
How you doing, buddy?
Living a dream, dude. Surviving. I've been sick for the last week. I don't know. I was run down last week, and then we apparently went 4.5 hours on a live, and right after that, I died. Son of a Crayon Slayer. Evil Dookie. Oh, they're all showing up, so we did something right. But yeah, man, if anybody's got any questions for GunBunny, check it out. Now is your chance. But I am just stoked to have him here, be able to pick his brain a little bit. The big question I have is that APC. Is that just all 3D printed, or how did you come up with that thing, man?
It's scratch built. I used the bottom portion of an HM Armed Forces tank, which was just the tray that held the tracks. And then I just built up from there. I built it all up with evergreen styrene.
Wow, that's amazing. See, I just got a Proxine hot wire cutter, and I just started messing with it, and I can't believe the thin ass cuts I can get out of this styrene now. I'm blown away.
What kind of cutter did you get?
It's a Proxine hot wire cutter. It looks like a table saw with a wire in it instead of a blade.
That's like for foam, right? For like cutting foam?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, right on, yeah.
Just a straight cut foam. I mean, you can get just the slivers of foam. It's amazing. I couldn't believe how cool it was. But yeah, man, we got Turkish Murphy. We got Bobby Wald. I don't know if anybody was watching last night, but some toy enhancer guy showed back up after months of hiatus. And imagine that, Bobby won. But yeah, man, we got everybody's here. Stick figure guy. I got to hang out with him over the weekend. Very cool cat. The man with the handlebar mustache. Evil Dookie. But hopefully some other people are listening while they're driving home from work. That's the whole idea of this. I wasn't smart enough to figure out how to put an actual slideshow onto the computer, so I did, unfortunately, save a few pictures on my phone that I'm no longer on. But if you don't know, that's GunBunny's work. And this guy is sick with it. Like that dragonfly. I don't know. I thought it was scary enough when he took that his tank apart, but taking a dragonfly apart, you're the man, dude.
It's actually pretty simple. It's actually a pretty simple process.
Was it really?
Yeah. Once you start, getting into messing with all the different Hasbro products, like the, all the different vehicles that they've released so far, I've done a breakdown video for every vehicle they release, and just the way that they're engineered, you know what I mean? The way that they design them, they use a similar, I don't know what you would call it. I want to say tricks, but they use similar designs in the way that certain things attach.
Okay.
The Slugger is on hiatus. I was working on it, and I got to a point where I was stuck, and then just other commissions came in, or other projects came in, or my day job came in, and so I haven't had a chance to pick back up on it. But that's definitely one that I want to finish this year, because it was one of my childhood favorites. And so basically what I was stuck on was getting the portion where the cannon attached to the body, and then the hole kind of went, kind of around it, still allowing it to articulate, but keeping the shape of the actual, the way that the Slugger looked initially. So sometimes they get complex because you're dealing with a base vehicle. I was dealing with an HM Armed Forces little pursuit vehicle, so you got to deal with everything that the vehicle comes with, the way that vehicle is structured, the way that things attach to that, things that you have to take off, saw off, or cut off, or whatever. And so sometimes it can be a little bit complex, and sometimes you get to a point where you off a little bit more than you can chew, and then you have to wait till your kind of imagination or your skills catch up to being able to figure out that portion, and then you can move on from there.
I know all about waiting till your skill set improves to go on to the next level. Trust me, I have been stuck more than a couple times, and I'm just making stupid buildings over here. I'm not doing anything hard. But yeah, man, that slugger looked really cool.
Thank you.
That's always been one of my favorites. Thunder was, I got to admit, when the Saw Viper killed Thunder, I was more than a little upset.
What episode? I mean, what issue was that in?
Oh God, off the top of my head, 140s somewhere in there. Somebody in the chat's got to know. But it was Doc peeked his head up, and the Saw Viper let loose on him, and then Thunder and somebody else basically jumped on top of a couple other Joes, and so they got lit up. And then the next issue or whatever, like quick kicking the rest of them, chase them down in a rage, and then wound up just that thing got blasted to pieces while they were still in it. So I mean, it was just Casualties of War. That was the title of the issue. Not good.
I just got that compendium in, so I have to go back and read it.
Oh, Woody picked it up, and Matthew Matson has it. A couple other guys. That thing is absolutely amazing. Did you get the Joe version or the Cobra version?
Oh, I had to go get the Cobra version.
My man. I kind of figured I saw as I knocked my microphone over, I saw your Cobra tattoo on your arm, and I was like, that's a fan right there, boy. Hell yeah. So let's see. So I saw you made like everybody in their suited version. What body did you use to make those guys?
Oh, I'm sorry. So the first one was, where's it at? I have one here. Was Hammerhead. It was he was the one that I used mostly. He was on sale at on Amazon, and I'd seen quite a few people do it, over the last couple of years. And then Black Angus KJ, he sent me a video of another guy who did it, and he said, "Man, I think you should try it. I think you do a good job." So I did the twins, and then that kind of went along with right at the time when I was doing the tank. So that all kind of came together, and then I did this Hooded Cobra Commander one, and that was the same thing. That's a Hammerhead body. And then for my Destro, I used let me grab them. I used the Tombstone body.
I used Tombstone for my Destro. I was hoping to get away with using the Rose because I found him at Ollie's for like $6, but he's just a little too small.
So he makes a good Storm Shadow. I got a Storm Shadow head off of eBay. I forget the name of it. It's a well-known, figurehead printer, and it was already white, and so it was real easy to kind of turn him into Storm Shadow. The only issue was the neck. I have to find a better neck.
Okay.
Rose neck on there, but it doesn't really fit the head too well. So I got to find.
Gotcha. Yeah, I use Hammerhead. God, I can't remember who I turned Hammerhead into. I think it was my Christopher Walken. I wound up putting that head on there from the Dune series.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
But yeah, that was a good one. Bobby Wall wants you to put up pictures of. Oh, he put up pictures of his classified scale Cobra Island with a terror drone. Okay.
Oh, check that out.
Yeah. Evil Dookie says that compendium is over $600 right now.
Wow.
It's still new hotness, so that's got to wear off a little bit for that.
I got the the Hiss tank version of it, and I was surprised. I totally forgot that it just showed up. I totally forgot about it, and man, I forgot that it came with all those posters and cards and stickers and bookmarks, and man, it came with
man, that Storm Shadow print that comes with it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I'm totally digging on that. But yeah, so you said you're doing commissions. How's that work?
Well, I do from time to time take commissions. It generally will depend on the way that the person communicates and what they're asking for. Um, I would say probably 8 out of 10 times when somebody asks for a commission, once they hear the price, they don't ever respond after that. But
I've done that a couple times. Like, you want how much? Oh, yeah. Well, I got to think.
but I try to keep my pricing fair, but at the same time, with some of the stuff, I mean, you're not only dealing with the cost of all the stuff. So if it's like a figure, in the price, say it's $100, that's also got to include the price of the figure, which is $25, the price of the paint, or whatever else it is that you use, plus your time. You know what I mean? And some of these, like, they'll take 2 or 3 days to do. Some figures and some vehicles take 2 or 3 days to do, or some vehicles take weeks to do. And so that's a lot of hours. You know what I mean? And so
Well,
the price will reflect.
I had a teacher that told me a long time ago, you got to know what you're worth and tell people that's the price it is. I mean, and when you do work, the caliber of work that you do, I mean, you can't be afraid to throw that number out there. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, for real.
Yeah. Luckily, in my day job, I'm a tattoo artist, so I've been dealing with being able to price my work for a long time. I've been tattooing professionally for 20 years this year, and so
wow.
that's something that every day, when I was working the street shops and stuff like that, and you're dealing with people coming in and out of a hustling shop, price and the ability to negotiate the price and to be able to, still get what you need out of it and still accommodate the client is definitely in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, you're meeting expectations that are high to begin with. So, I mean, there's always that. And like Turk says, cool ain't cheap.
Very true. He's right about that.
Evil Dookie says, you got me wanting a contact truck made from a Stinger. Oh, a contact truck. Right on.
I don't know what a contact truck is.
I'm not sure either. Hopefully he'll elaborate further. I'm pretty lost there. What did you use? I see you did the Wreck-It rig, and I actually had one of those. I turned into a flatbed wrecker. I thought I'd use the play on words with the Wreck-It to the wrecker. But what did you fill the gap with on the hood where it breaks apart?
I used Tamiya green putty, like modeling putty for like plastic models. So when I was a kid and a teenager, I built a lot of plastic models with my dad, a lot of car models and stuff. And so a lot of the skill set that I bring to creating these comes from the skill set that I attained while I was building models. So the painting, the airbrush, the attention to detail, the being able to work with like the putty and stuff like that.
Right on.
All kind of came from that in my experience of I worked at a hobby store during high school for 3 years. And so then people would ask us to either build it for them, or for their kid if it was a gift, or they would commission us to paint their RC car bodies, or what I'm saying, or build railroad layouts, paint miniatures, paint model cars, and to do all kinds of customizing to that stuff. So
that's crazy.
I was able to get a pretty good amount of experience in doing stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, I did Warhammer for about 20 years. So I'm used to just painting teeny tiny things. And when I moved up to classified, I was like, man, this is like painting on easy mode.
Yeah, it's like painting a barn. Super easy, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But Evil Dookie says, do it.
So why'd you stop doing Warhammer?
I got burned out for the first time in 20 years. I got tired of chasing the codex. I got just tired of giving them all my money.
Yeah, it's an expensive hobby for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't getting any cheaper, and they decided they were getting rid of a bunch of models that were the bulk of my army, just making people upgrade to the newer models, which I don't mind. But when you got to throw half your stuff away that you can't use in a tournament anymore, I was over it.
I played when I was gosh, it was like middle school when I played that. It was called Space Hulk.
Yep.
It was called, and it was like a board game, and it was, you got the I don't know, were they Blood Angels? I forget what they were, but
It was
and then
Blood Angels versus Tyranids.
yeah, the Tyranids, the Gene Stealers, and all that stuff that came. And my buddy and his dad, like, he'd moved. His dad was in the military, and they ended up moving to San Antonio, and then he moved in my neighborhood, and we ended up being friends. But him and his dad were big into it, and his dad was an amazing miniatures painter. And going to the hobby store, it's been closed for 25 or 30 years now, but it's not too far from where I live now. And I remember going and seeing, they would take me there, and they would, all the little sets that had all the different, the different squads. And his dad and I think his older sister, they were really into like the Harlequins, and they had them all painted all crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And his dad was awesome. And so I started trying to paint those, even back then, but I didn't have the right paint or anything. There was like testers, enamel, and you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't work at all.
But eventually kind of got into it, and it was pretty cool. I never played like tournaments or got into it like that. It was always just really between me and that guy. And
that's where the fun really is playing against your buddies and just having a good time, beer and pretzels. But then when you move to the next level and you start playing in tournaments and you're driving all over the state, and you get caught up quick, just like anything else. And then next thing you know, you're playing in a tournament with 120 other people for 4 days, and you don't do very well sometimes. You lose one game, and then next thing you know, you're 50th out of 120. Like, I lost one game. What happened?
Yeah, they do at the comic book store that I go to. Right next to it, they lease the space that's next to it, and they knock down the wall. So half of it is like a giant. It's just filled with tables to do. Every night they have a different kind of gaming, and
that's fun.
My son up from school will stop there because they have like an aisle that has like all like the Japanese or the like the Asian snacks, the sodas with the little ball in them, and then like the Korean Lays and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go and get them comic books and snacks and stuff like that, and I'll see them all setting up for their big play that night. And it's impressive, man. It's impressive when they bring out those armies, and they're all painted to match, and they're all laid out.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the terrain and stuff like that they lay out and make.
It's very immersive. I mean, it really is. Some of it it's always blown my mind. Like, it was the game I always wanted to play with Joe's back as a kid. And when I first figured it out, I was like, that was the goal. I was going to figure out how to use those rules for G.I. Joe guys. And then I just got caught up and played the game.
That'd be pretty cool, man. If they did a Joe version of it.
Well, I've been talking with Wraith Mace, and sometime after the snow melts, I'm going to make my way north, and we're supposed to play. There's a game called Kill Team, which it's 5 to 10 guys, but I've seen people play that with larger scale models, like the McFarlane models and stuff, or the McFarlane toys. So he wants to play with the Joy Toy figures. And I figure if we can do that, there's no reason why we can't use 1/12 Joe figures. I just got to build the terrain. So that's half of why I'm building the city, and the other half's to make basically a heist chase scene for a movie. That's the whole reason I'm building this giant city. But
that's cool.
Got to go for it, right? Go big or go home. So stick figure guy wants to know how much to make a stick figure statue.
Stick figure statue. I guess the cost of shipping, right? It wouldn't be very much. Stick figure statue.
If you get a chance, stick figure guy's on Instagram, and he goes up and he meets every celebrity you can think of, every artist you can think of. He's come across them, and when he asks them for their autograph, he asked them to draw a stick figure. and he's got some of the most amazing stick figures you've ever seen in your life.
I'll have to check that out. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, it started out. I guess it started out as a joke. You know, what's the craziest thing you can get this awesome artist to draw? And he's like, a stick figure. And they've just, for years, he's gone over and back and forth, and just he's got hundreds of them now. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Was this Joe fan? Playing Yu-Gi-Oh was fun. My nephew used to get so mad to beat me. Oh man, Yu-Gi-Oh. Boy, that was 2 years of my life I don't want to remember. Oh man. Yeah. Crimson Cobra Commander, collecting action figures hobbies is an expensive hobby too. It is beyond expensive. Especially with this new Maximum line. Have you seen that guy yet?
No, I pretty much stick to just classified. If I snag something that's not, it's for, it's to turn something into something for the classified line. But I don't really collect anything else outside of classified.
Nice. Yeah, if I could just focus on classified, I'd probably be caught up and have all the figures I need. But I did see your army building video though. That was pretty impressive, man.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's since I only do one line, it allows me to kind of focus like that. Because if I did collect other lines like Marvel or DC, which I do like, I like those properties. I like the comics, the cartoons, the movies, and all that stuff. I would have to collect it the same way that I collect classified, because that's just the way my brain is wired. So then I'd have to have a huge collection of Marvel. I'd have to have a army of Shield agents, a huge army of Hydra agents, you know what I mean? And then everything to kind of go along with it. And so I have to kind of show a little restraint and only do one line.
Oh yeah. Every time I pull my wallet out, it just screams at me. No, put me away. And now apparently I was planning, are you going to go? If I could talk one day, it'd be wonderful. You plan on going to DFW since how you're in Texas?
I would like to. My plan, I wanted to try to go last year, and unfortunately, I'm in the middle of a custody battle for my son.
Ooh, okay.
I'm trying to get sole or primary custody of my son, who I have him the majority of the time, anyways. But when we tried to go last year, his mom kind of pulled some dirty stuff and didn't allow us to go there, and then didn't allow us to go on a vacation that we were supposed to go see my buddy in Mississippi. So this year we're supposed to make it to actual court to see the judge. So I'm hoping by the time those shows come around, summertime, that we'll already have the judgment, and in that I'll be able to, because right now I'm restricted. I can't take him outside of the county. Neither of us can take him outside of the county that San Antonio's. Nobody can take him outside of Bexar County.
Wow.
So if I'm stuck in that situation, I won't go without him. I'm not going to go without my son. So
no, I understand. That's definitely something you want to do with your kid. 100%. Yeah, I got a buddy of mine that's basically in the same spot that you're in, and it just finally everything worked out. He had sole custody of the kid, but he was still paying child support, all kinds of weird stuff. Finally, it went to court, and I guess she just didn't bother to show up. So judge was like, "What do you want?"
Wow.
So awesome. I mean, he dodged a bullet with that one. He got really lucky, but yeah, I don't know. It's crazy stuff. Thank God I didn't have to go through that with my wife, because I'd have killed her. There's no way about it.
Because in Texas, it's a mother award state, so no matter what, they generally side with the mother. So I've had to go through a long, hard process for the last it's over a year now that we've been into it, and we're not even into mediation yet. And
oh my God,
I can't even crazy money that we spent on lawyers between. You know what I mean? You're probably at this point, between us both, probably $50,000 or $60,000 just in lawyers' fees at this point, and it's still going. And it was the same thing. She was originally awarded primary, but she never took majority possession from him. She just would take the child support, and then him a little bit of the time. So myself and my family are the ones who have supported him his whole life, bought him everything. I mean, he lives
Right.
here in the house with me, and he just goes and spends a night or two a week with his mom. But she was still getting all the child support. I bought the house for us. My parents bought her a vehicle. We're paying her car insurance, giving her money. I was giving her child support, and we were paying everything for the child, where she wasn't really chipping in, and she was going out drinking.
Oh,
And
wonderful. Yeah, I just love how the courts don't actually look and see what's going on and see what's best for the child. And just it blows my mind that that's the system we live in these days. It's crazy.
yeah, and they even told me at the beginning of the process, when because she was suing me for a different visitation schedule, and then I finally just said fuck it, and I got a lawyer, and I was like, how do we get primary or sole? And it's just it's been crazy. They told me in the beginning, you're gonna have a hard road to hoe, because Texas, does not want to go against mothers no matter what, no matter how bad. And so, I mean, I've had to call CPS on his mom a couple of times for the stuff that she's done. And even when the investigators come and you have to talk to the initial investigators on the phone on stuff, they tell you you're going to have a difficult time because they do not want to investigate moms. They do not want to waste time investigating
Right.
moms. So I've had to do, 2 or 3 times the amount of work that she would have had to done if I was doing the same thing. She would have just had to gone in there and said, my baby daddy ain't shit. He ain't, paying, he's, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. And they would have
Nuts.
nailed me to a tree. But since it's her, we got to go through this long roundabout way to make sure she gets all of her little, leeway and leniency every step of the way. And it's pretty frustrating, but hopefully here coming to an end this year.
There you go. Well, keep your head up, man. That's the best you can do. I mean,
oh yeah,
Snake showed up, so we are an official podcast right now because we got all the right people listening to us. And Crimson Cobra Commander said that they ask the child what they want, and I found out that that's not how that works. They don't ask the child anymore. It doesn't have it doesn't matter what the kid thinks or what the kid wants anymore. It's all about how much money you got for a lawyer.
Yeah, and so in Texas, they don't. That doesn't happen until they're 13. When they're 13, they can say, "Well, I want to live with my mom and dad." But before then, it's got to go through the courts. And this is the third time we've gone through this.
Oh wow!
The third time, and he's only 7. This is the third time in 7 years that we have gone through this.
Ah, poor guy.
It is.
That's crazy. Yeah, in Florida, they don't. It doesn't matter. My friend's kid, she's 15, and they don't care what she has to say for it.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'll never understand. It boggles my mind. But then again, here I am playing with toys. So, no, I have completely reverted back into childhood. I'm doing retail for God's sakes. I mean, I used to work on cars.
Oh,
Do what?
you were a mechanic?
I was a body man, painter. Had
Oh,
lots
nice.
of fun. Yeah, we did all the good stuff. Made
Well, shit. Did
more
you know
money than I know what to do with. Do what?
you know how to really paint then?
I got some Warhammer models that, man, they used to look at me like I was crazy in the paint shop. Get a paint stand with like 15 tanks on it, and there I am just blasting away.
That's awesome. Do you ever do anything like custom, like put like panels and fades, and you know what I mean? Do like a multi-stage?
I didn't get into that. I got just to where I was good enough to where I could make one panel match and I could blend it into the next panel and you couldn't tell. And I didn't do a whole lot because I worked with my dad and he was a lot faster at it than I was. Imagine that. The guy with all the experience. So we stuck him in the paint booth and I did, like, we would come in the morning, he would do all the mud work. And then he would go to the paint booth and I would get everything prepped, ready, sanded, scotch brighted, taped up, whatever needed to be done. Got it into the booth. And then when he got done painting, I would get it basically torn back down, put back together and down the road.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, when I first started, I was lucky to make because we got paid by the job, so it was flat rate. But when I first started, I was at like 30 hours a week and just trying to make 40. And by the time I was done, we were splitting 300 to 400 hours a week.
Holy shit.
So, I mean, it was just painting 4 bumpers at once with a car at the same time, just trying to get shit done. Beating my head against the wall. Menjoza, what's up, brother?
What's up, sir?
Yeah, fucking, you can. I smoked 2 cigarettes today. I want to die. Of course, I've been sick too, so, you know.
Yeah.
Born with asthma, you're not allowed to smoke.
Yeah.
I'll prove them wrong. But yeah, here I am. So yeah, man. I mean, goddamn. So I take it Tiger Force is your favorite subsector of G.I. Joe?
It has grown to be that way, sir. That it was not. Hey, stop doing that. Sorry, I got my puppies in here with me.
No, you're good. I see them in the videos.
They're being funky over here. Yeah, I didn't start off. I'll go over there. But it all actually kind of started when I did that Ram, that very first Ram, and I just wanted to paint a custom Ram. And stop doing that. Go over there. Just chewing on some stuff. And so when I took it apart, and I was like, well, how am I going to paint it? And I was like, well, it just said, you know, and like it came to me, just do a sub team, just do something that everybody's going to recognize. And they hadn't released the Tiger Force Ram at that time. They hadn't even, you know, what you can say, like done like the pipeline reveal or any of that stuff. And I did it just to do it, and it got a huge response, and you know, a lot of people liked it. And so it ended up being enjoyable to paint it, to paint the fades on there, to paint the tiger stripes, and then, you know, to break the Ram cycle down and all that kind of stuff. And so from there, I was like, well, shit, well, what else can I paint Tiger Force? And then what else can I paint Tiger Force? And then I actually started Tiger Force figures first. I did here on my Tiger Force shelf. There's a custom Tiger Force roadblock that I did like year one, and I used the Mark 19, the helmets that look like the OG helmets. I've gotten some of those, and I don't know. It was just the ability to use those colors and to make those fades and to make it not just olive drab or just, you know what I'm saying, just, you know, with Cobra it's blue, it's in G.I. Joe it's green, you know, you might get some brown in there, so it's the real limited color palettes. But once you get like Tiger Force and especially Python Patrol like that, you can for an artist, you know what I mean, you can really open up and expand the colors that you're using. So for Tiger
Force, that was
Force,
one of my favorite ones of yours right there. That the Dreadnought colors.
Oh yeah,
man,
that's right.
That is so cool, man. Now, how did you make the trike for Road Pig?
So that's actually the strike cycle from the old Rambo Coleco line from like 1986.
No way! Awesome.
Yeah. So I modified it. It had it didn't have handlebars. It had like 2 Uzis on the side, and that's kind of, their arms just went straight out. They weren't really articulated like G.I. Joe's. So you would almost like flat, and his arms would be out, and they'd be like on those Uzis, and then there's 2 holes on either side where his legs would go through. So he'd lay flat like a drag bike, and then it still had the portion where the top and the back opened up and the Gatling gun came out, and it had pegs. It has pegs on there for the Rambo figures to fit. They don't fit the classified ones, so I'm gonna eventually take those off and then put classified ones on that'll fit the classified scale. But all I did was repaint it. I broke it down. I took off some of the goofier parts because like the engine opened up and shot missiles, and I mean I had a bunch of stuff. And
yeah.
Found the handlebars off of, what were those off of? They were off of something, and I put it to where the handlebars were up more like the Dreadnought cycle.
Right. Giving those ape hangers.
Yeah, so it'll fit the aesthetic with the ape hangers. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
we got K-Mac and Kaiju Kitty showed up. I mean, hell yeah, dude. Bitchin'. Jay Bartlett was in here earlier. Fucking We got all the high class people coming out.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. And there he is. Action figure addict. Watch Grandpa go, bitch. Watch Grandpa go. But yeah, man, fucking you're just amazing. All of your work is top notch, man. I can't get over it. Fucking I've been dying to talk to you for a cool minute, and my head's still foggy from being sick, so I really just I'm kind of just kicking back, enjoying the ride, man.
Hey, anytime you want me on, man, just let me know.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we're I'm moving the time on Fridays for the hangout to 6. So that's 6 Eastern. Just because 5 o'clock's too early for everybody. I mean, and I'm trying to be done by like 9 because that's when Figure Fight Club goes on. I just don't
Oh,
want to walk over Abby's show because I'll be honest, I want to watch Abby's show. But man, there's so many good shows to watch, and I know you do because I see you in the chat all the time.
yeah. That's one thing, man, that I'm kind of was excited about, especially like in this last year. It seemed like a lot of shows came out. A lot of people started their own little shows, and I like it because, like I said, I only do classified stuff, but everybody seems to do a little bit of everything, so I can kind of jump around to like, okay, so they're doing DC on this one, but they're doing classified on this one, so I could watch that one, and then next week they're doing Marvel, but they're doing classified, so I can kind of hop around and just watch the classified.
Right. Well, that's what I like about punk and Jerk with Toys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Mega Powers. I mean, because they basically they ratchet through and they show everything that's coming out, and that way you don't really miss a whole lot. And then we hang out with Legend Series on the pre-roll and just man, I can't.
I love watching Tony.
I laugh so hard watching the pre-roll. My God, man, that shit's just perfect to me. Fucking it's
Tony has the right. He has the right personality for that whole ring announcer thing that he's got going on. That wrestling, script writing, ring announcing, experience, and just the embodiment of that he has.
Yeah, man, it works. It's good, man.
Pretty fucking
And that shit he was doing with fucking Megatron fucking last Sunday. Holy shit, dude. I was driving the car. I had to pull over because I was laughing so damn hard.
Yeah. And he's got Felix and his wife in there, and then
Oh,
they
yeah.
good comments coming in, and they know how to kind of stoke that fire and stuff. So it's definitely one of my favorite shows to watch.
Dude, if I told you stories of my youth, they'd come arrest me. I don't think the statute of limitations is over yet. The shit we used to get into. Fuck.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it was cool because back then you could get into it and nobody was filming it. Nobody was putting it on.
Yeah. No, man, if they were filming it back then, oh my God, the trouble we'd have got in because the shit we did, they didn't believe you. Fucking there was no way. Yeah, so that's why I got a computer because I just got kicked off my own show. Unbelievable. Started at 9 o'clock this morning. By 11 o'clock, I had 15 phone calls.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I got to get a new number. Yeah. Loki says it best. Thankfully, there was no social media back then. Believe it, man. Just Jeff, what's happening, brother? Yeah, man. So, fucking A. So, what is like the one thing that you're most proud of in your collection that you've done so far?
I would say the thing that I'm most proud of that I made was the APC, and that's just because of the amount of fabrication that took, as far as like building all that out, building out because you got to build out the interior, the cockpit area, all of that kind of stuff. But my favorite like paint job that I look at and I'm still like, man, that looks is the Blood and Honey Stinger, the one that I did for Python Patrol Major Blood. That one.
Yeah.
just the color scheme was I don't know, when it hit me, and I just thought it was awesome.
Right. Well, that's, I don't know. I paint 1,000 models, and every once in a while, you feel it, and everything just starts to work right, and everything clicks. And then when you're done, you're like, "Holy shit! I just did that."
Yeah, it literally was like that. Like a lot of times, like there'll be somewhat of a snag, maybe, or an issue while you're breaking it down, or for me, a lot of what trips me up is I can't see the final result. Like I have to be able to see somewhat of a vision of it in my head before I can execute. And so with that one, I was like, oh, that faded with that. Okay, I only want the Python patrol pattern to go so far. I want it just all clicked. And when I broke the stinger down, it broke down with no problems. I know it was just smooth. I mean, it went back together. And then usually there's always some kind of snag when I'm putting shit back together because I'm kind of excited, and sometimes you rush it a little bit, and because you want to see it together, and then, what I mean, you scratch something or you ding something, and then you got to do touch ups. But with that one, I mean, just one day, everything just done, and everything just fell together just right. And so it was probably one of my most enjoyable um, customs to make because there was no stress in it. It was just all just like you said, it just everything lined up. You know what I mean? And it was a good experience.
Very cool, man. Yeah. So, have you tried any dial work yet, or are you just still working on vehicles and figures?
I want to, and I haven't. Um, how do I say? I don't know, man. I really want to. I really really want to. I have all of these ideas for it, but then when I think to myself, I say, okay, look, this is a whole nother facet of collecting and customizing and building stuff. That's a whole nother set of skills you got to learn. That's a whole nother set of tools and materials that you got to get familiar with. That's a whole lot of space, and
Space is the big part.
yeah, and I like it. I see guys, they they'll have everything kind of held together by magnets, so then that way you can kind of break it down, and it's modular, and so it can be broke down for storage and stuff like that. But in my head, I want a big diorama scene, both Joe and Cobra. I don't know how I want to do it or where I want to do it. Because like I would love a classified scale aircraft carrier like that guy made, but I would like it as also my display where I put all of my Joe stuff, right? And
Right.
so I've thought about getting like those like the garage sort of metal shelving systems and getting however many I needed to make it the 17 feet or 15 feet or whatever it is that it's got to be, right? And then you can adjust the shelves to be the levels of the deck, below the flight deck, and then have the top one be the flight deck, and then on the build it out to where it fits the shape and of the aircraft carrier, so it's not just a rectangle, but it has the different lanes and stuff like that on there, and then it has the tower. I've thought about that, and as I sit here and I look at my metal shelves, from time to time, I think, well, if I did it, how would I do it? I could do this, to cut the doorways, the portals, all this kind of stuff, and have this to be the armory, this to be the communication room, this to be that, or whatever. And I think, well, if I get that pink installation board, if I got it this thick, I can make the walls out of this, I can make the floor out of that, I can blah 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 blah, and you just kind of
Yep.
go through the breakdown of it to see if it's accomplishable. And then I think, okay, well then how the fuck am I going to do it? You know what I'm saying? And then you're like, I have no idea how to do it. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the very first building I made, I I saw a guy. God, I can't even think of his name right now, but he built a 1/12 scale building for Spider-Man, and you could turn it into like an alleyway at the same time. And I watched him do it, and then I watched the video like 2 or 3 more times, and I was like, you know what? Fuck that. Because I looked it up and I was like, how much does this stuff cost? And I was like, oh hell no. No, no, no. That's crazy. I'm not paying $400 for this. And I grabbed a knife, and it wasn't Euler's workshop, but it was pretty much the same thing. But yeah, I was just like, you know what? It's just I went to hardware store. I picked up some foam. I bought a new razor knife, and I had everything else sitting around the house, and I was like, "Fuck it, let's give it a shot." And it came out. I just did what the guy did on fucking YouTube and was like, "Well, shit, isn't that something?"
There's this guy. I keep looking at his work, and he doesn't do Joe stuff. He does it's all Ninja Turtle backgrounds. It's like BBTS or something like that, or BDTS, and they're all colored to look. I mean, just like the cartoon, man. And
Yep.
it fits perfectly, like with that. I don't know. I haven't seen him do any work in a long time, but there was a guy that used to be on there that did Ninja Turtle Customs named Minion Mike or Mikey Minion or something like that. Minion Mike,
Okay.
and he did like the Channel 4 van and all kinds of different vehicles. I mean, and it looked just like the cartoon. They were like shell shaded.
Yeah, I saw one guy. He did the Channel 6 news building, and each shelf was like a different floor on the building. And then at a certain point, it went below ground and did the sewers and stuff. And it was awesome.
Yeah. I've seen a few guys like Kraken Waves. He does some really awesome stuff, and I can't remember the other guy, but all of his stuff is more like medieval. They're like, like a blacksmith's workshop, and I mean, he's got a big peaked roof and all of this kind of stuff, and fuck, it's so impressive, man. You know what I mean? And he can get all the different textures in there, whether it make it look like stone or if it's like a wood floor and all that kind of stuff, and he puts all of that shit in there, and it is just.
Yeah, Vasco was the guy. He was the first guy I saw that made a building, and I was like, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
It didn't help that I was under the gun because I was starting to go blind, and I was like, man, I got to do this just to prove to myself that I can do it. And then I wound up getting my eyesight fixed, and I was like, well, shit, I guess I need to keep building.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was out of work, because I couldn't see to actually drive to go to work. So I wound up just building away, and man, it just took over. Now I got stacks of foam like this. That's like one street.
I gotta try that. I gotta try. Is it pretty difficult to work with that foam? Or
It's easy, man. It really is. It's I've done a couple of videos. Tony's done Legend Series has done quite a few videos on it. And it really is. It's just you score it with a razor and then you come back. I use a mechanical pencil and I follow that same line and just make it a little bit bigger and you're golden, man. Your lines are in there. But the brickwork's the tedious. I mean, it's just you get sick of making bricks after a while. But Tony said he's working on it. He's gonna come up with a way to make it look concrete. So
can you use like I know like that Green Stuff World place, they have those rolling, they're almost like rolling pins that'll have like like a brick road or whatever. Is it possible to roll those rolling pins over like that pink installation board to just roll out
it works better on the pink board than it does the green board. Green board's at Lowe's, the pink board's at Home Depot. The pink board's a lot softer, so you can roll that on there, but you just take a square, measure it out, and just follow it along. I mean, it's simple stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff says heat it up first. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I get lost in it. I just put the metal square down and just have at it. Yeah. Get lost in my own head. It's almost like therapy.
It is, man.
Believe it. That's what hobbies are, man. Fucking, that's what all this is for us, I think.
It's the great escape.
I don't know, man. The green foam is thicker, more dense is what I'm saying. And the pink foam is a lot softer. It's more malleable, easier to use, I think. It's a lot easier to cut. But then it all comes down to preference.
So
yeah, Loki says pink is better. It's easier to texture up. That's for sure. lot of people are like, "Oh, use a tinfoil ball." I got a couple little pieces of chipped concrete. I roll them bitches on there, boy. It just textures the shit out of it.
Yeah, I did the ball trick a bunch. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Uh, can you show off the tan trooper?
The Tan Trooper.
Yeah. I like the dog handler that you came up with. That was a killer figure.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, he's in the other room. He's not back here in this room. I don't think. No, he's in the other room. So I have so in my house I had the original room, spare bedroom that I did all of my first stuff in. Like, so if you watch all of my first like 2 or 3 years of video, it's all in that room. And
Okay.
um then a couple of years ago I had this started adding this addition to the house where I added a 500 square foot studio to my house so I could work out of. And this was this room here that's turned it into the Joe room. It was initially supposed to be the bathroom that went to this room. It was a long bathroom, the the whole width of the studio, but the contractors messed up the plumbing, and so they weren't able to put the therapy tub because they were supposed to put the therapy tub in here for my accident where I messed up my legs and my back, and so then I just had this room that had it's got like a it's got like the fan in the ceiling, it's got the vent in the ceiling, and it had everything for it to be a bathroom. And so I was like, I'm just gonna do all my Joe shit in there. And so then I've just been slowly kind of moving everything in here and getting more display cases. I have two, I want to get three more and have the whole wall of it display cases. And because I want to put like my whole Cobra army in there. I have a bunch of Cobra commanders that I've collected throughout the years. You know what I mean? From 12-inch ones from the 90s,
Yep.
just
Yep.
different, all the little 2 packs that came, they came in, and then the little fake Lego ones, the Creo ones, everything that I could, every time I saw a little Cobra Commander. So
Yep. Yep.
I want just one whole thing, just all of my Cobra Commanders, whether they're Funko Pops or whatever it is that I got. I just want like a Cobra Commander shelf.
Oh yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's something that I have a few shelves in the bedroom, but nothing. But he's like, "Oh, I want to see a room tour." I'm like, "Yeah, I could show you 4 tubs on the ground. That's where all my stuff's at." I got maybe 20 figures shown off out in the garage, and I probably got another 50 in the bedroom, and that's about it. I mean, everything else is just put away. I mean, I just don't have. There's no space for me anymore.
Yeah, that's one thing about. I mean, I really like the 6-inch line. I'm surprised it's gone on as long as it has. But I mean, it is a shelf gobbling size. You know what I'm saying, and
Oh
especially now
yeah.
the vehicles. I mean,
Oh
you have a good portion of some kind of shelving system or room to be able to display all that. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I mean, look at the size. Today I was looking through Instagram, and I forget who it was. It was it was like a reseller, and he was selling an original his tank from like '83. You know what I mean, for like $18 or whatever, a banged up one, and he's holding it in his hand with two fingers like this. And I was like, God, that looks so tiny now compared to the,
right.
classified ones. I remember them being, where you could hold them with two fingers like that, like and I
Oh
mean, they're
yeah.
only that big. You know what I mean? They're so small.
Yeah, super light. Yeah, you weren't worried about dropping it the whole bit, For God, we used to throw those things half the time. Yeah. So, what got you into GI Joe in the first place? You've been
Well,
around since you're one of us older guys. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I remember it wasn't anything that we consciously asked for at the time because it was Easter of '83 when I got my first GI Joe. Right, I got rock and roll in the whirlwind in my Easter
oh
basket.
wow, yeah,
But
that's a good combo.
yeah, I mean, still my favorite. and then my brother got Gung Ho and the Polar Bear. And we didn't. I mean, we didn't know what GI Joe was up until that point. They just, I mean, it was just in our Easter basket that one year. I mean, and it just, we had He-Man, we had Star Wars, we had, all that kind of shit that everybody else had that was released up to that point. You know what I mean? In '83, we had kids, kind of kidsy toys and Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars and all that shit. But when I saw that and opened them, and he's got the M60 with the bipod, a helmet you could put on, and this this thing he can sit in that has these I didn't understand what they were, but two guns, and it was just
Two giant guns. Hell yeah.
just the coolest thing in the world. And so basically from that moment, I've been obsessed. It's been my favorite line. We collected it to from like '83 to '89 almost completely. We got almost completely everything. Me and my brother. We didn't get the flag or the Defiant, but we got probably 90% between me and him. We probably got 90% of everything that was released from '83 to '89, and then in '90, I only got two figures. I'll never forget them. It was Pathfinder and Bullhorn, and I remember going to Toys R Us and thinking like, God, they're so out there now. You know what I'm saying? Like you had like Captain Gridiron with a football missile. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that was crazy, Captain Gridiron.
It was spinning off into the where it was to me GI Joe first kind of jumped the shark, like going from '85 to '86, where they kind of switched over to where it was a little bit more like sci-fi-ish. They had bats, that you know what I mean, and they were going away. It was more, I guess, real world. But like every year after that, it kind of spins out a little bit more. The vehicles got a little bit crazier. The weapons that they got a little bit crazier. All of their gear and get up, and so it was just like when I got those two figures. I remember I got them. I opened them, and then I put them together because they came with a bunch of accessories, and then never really played with them, like we did the other ones. And so like from there on, like I didn't throw away my GI Joes, but I didn't really, they weren't the focal point that they were.
No, I had everything but the Defiant up until that point, and I had to make the decision between the Defiant or the Mobile Command Center. And I asked for the Command Center, and I got so much fun and use out of the Command Center, it wasn't even crazy.
Oh, I bet.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Legend Series, what's up, brother?
Estelle,
but yeah, right? Yeah, watch the replay, brother. We've been talking about you. But yeah, that I really lost when they did the Toxo Zombie. As much as I loved the zombie aspect, because we were all horrid out by that point in time, we just couldn't get enough. And the fact that they brought zombies into GI Joe was just the greatest shit ever. But it was just like, all right, now that's just, we're fighting zombies now. Really? Is that what we're doing?
And I get it. They got to keep it relevant. You know what I mean? They did the drug enforcement force. They did the headhunters, and they all these other little sub teams and stuff.
That was the one thing I actually army built, because I was old enough and I had my own money, and I was all in on the drug dealer freaking and GI Joe, and those headhunters were so cool looking. I mean, just
they're real Mad Max. To me, they reminded me of the cops from Mad Max.
Right, yeah, they all had the shotgun. I mean, it was just, they were the perfect action figure for the time. But yeah, it was crazy. I couldn't believe that that's where we were headed with GI Joe. And also, it didn't help that the cartoon went to shit either. Like, to bring that for a new generation, it always bothered me, because we started out with GI Joe with the mass device, and that wasn't little kiddish by any means. I mean, it was because nobody died, but it wasn't drawn for the abstract mind. That was GI Joe. That's how I saw it in my head canon. And
I mean, if you think about it, like those first episodes, those first those two seasons, the Revenge of Cobra and all that stuff, I mean, they had enslaved people. You know what I'm saying? They had those weren't kidsy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in a kids program, but I mean, we were allowed to be able to think and see things like that. Like, and I'll give you another example that kind of made me kind of go back to that time. So I hadn't watched the original Star Wars in, I don't know, 20 years or whatever. Like once they redid it in '97 and they added all the extra special effects and all that other goofy shit to it, and it wasn't the original cut. I didn't really like it or watch it anymore. And so just out of like, let me see how I like it today, and I watched Star Wars, on Disney Plus. Man, I forgot that. Man, they were like burning stacks of Jawa bodies from Jawas that had got murdered outside of the sand crawler. Like, where the stormtroopers had massacred them all. And I'm thinking, like, I was watching that as like a 4 or 5 year old, watching Obi-Wan Kenobi and them stack and burn bodies, and that
Oh
was
yeah.
like a kids-esque kind of thing. And so if you look at like Star Wars and all that stuff, you're dealing with a lot of like, good versus evil, and the military aspect and all that kind of stuff. But they also didn't pull any punches for us either. We got to deal with all of that stuff as kids and into the canon of the toys that we were playing with, which was, now that you think about it, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think we did too good of a job sheltering our kids. And I think that's the bad road we went down. We tried to protect them too much when we were just, I don't know about you, but I was 4 or 5 getting kicked out of the house. Just go do what you got to go do.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, go outside and do something, come back when it's time to eat. We'd go outside, baseball or guns, or, what I'm saying, or war, or we drag all of our Joe shit outside in the backyard and play, or, it was, you weren't sitting at home on an iPad, in any capacity. If we played Nintendo, it was like real limited time. We didn't sit there. I mean, sometimes we would, like, if we got a game and somebody was spending the night, we'd play for a couple hours at night, but
Right.
it wasn't
Yeah.
20 or 24 hours straight of gaming and all that kind of shit.
Savage Land, what's up, brother? Love the table, brother. That last episode outside in the snow. I wish I could do it, but god damn, I'm glad I can't. I can't. It's actually snowing in Florida. Thank God it's not in my part of Florida, but yeah. Fuck that. But yeah, shit, man. Well, we've been going for an hour. Next time we'll go longer. I'm in a fog. I'm still sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm so glad we got to hang out. We got to talk. With any luck, I'll get to see you at DFW. How far away are you from DFW? You said you're in San Antonio, but how far is that?
It's like 4 hours.
4 hours, okay. Yeah, Texas is a big state.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, when I looked, it's actually in Grapevine, which is kind of like up in between Dallas and Fort Worth, in the Metroplex. So, I mean, I would say 4 to 5 hours. I used to drive up there all the time for work because I had a bunch of clients that were like in the Arlington, Grand Prairie area. So once every like 4 to 6 weeks, I used to drive up and spend 3 or 4 days up there in the, like I said, in the Arlington area, and just tattoo for 3 or 4 days straight and just hit all my clients. And
there you
so
go.
it wasn't that hard of a drive. And now that 35 is pretty much done, I would say maybe 4 hours. So the only thing holding me back is the
no, that's understandable. I mean, that's one of those things, man. It is what it is. But yeah, man, I'll start dropping you the link for Friday on the Hangout. If you can make it, you can make it. If you can't, either way, man, it's all good. But yeah, man. So GunBunny Customs, SameTime Toys. Tonight is a Punk with Toys with War Chest. That's going to be a good one. Of course, the Mega Powers they got their Thursday Night Thunder. Those guys, I can figure it out. I'll figure it out. Oh yeah, figure it out. They're on tonight. What do you got coming up? Anything? Any new projects? Anything you drop on Instagram?
Right now I'm doing a second tiger fly as a commission, and so I've been working on that. I'm about 85% done with the tiger fly, and then I've been working and dropping videos on doing the figures for him, and so I'm about probably about 70% done with the figures, and so I got a video that I recorded today as part three to the figures, and then I'm hoping to be done with them by next week, and then get it shipped out to my buddy Jay in the UK, who commissioned me to do it. And
Kick
then
ass.
I'm actually I've bought several sets of paint, like 5 or 6 different colors of paint of different stuff, because to be quite honest, I have one dragonfly left that's in the box. I got the stock one and I got my tiger fly, and I can't lie. I really want to see what a Python Patrol Dragonfly would look like.
Now we're talking. I can't wait to see that, brother.
So that'll be that. That should be the next one after I finish this Tiger Fly.
Kick ass. Kick ass. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me, man. I'm done. I'm sorry. I got to go crawl into a bed somewhere, hide under a rock or something. But yeah, be good to yourself. Be good to your friends. Be good to your family. But just take care of yourselves. And unlike the last time, I know where the stream button is. So be good.
Y'all have a good one, man.